Introducing the new DC-10 luxury liner with a lounge in coach and first class. American DC-10. Our passengers get the best of everything.
With its third, tail-mounted engine, the DC-10 became instantly iconic and one of the most recognizable aircraft in the skies. The DC-10 revolutionized the airline industry when it was first introduced in 1971. It had the comfort of the 747, but was able to land at smaller airports. It helped bring air travel to the masses. Despite the initial optimism, it appeared that the Douglas Corporation may have rushed the airplane out too quickly, leading to a bumpy start for the airplane. Despite all of this, the DC-10 went on to become one of the most iconic jetliners of the 20th century. This model is built at LEGO minifigure scale and measures almost 5 feet in wingspan and uses an estimated 20,000 LEGO parts. The airplane is big. Really big. Almost all of the silver parts on the airplane are authentic LEGO silver pieces. It took many years to source all of these rare silver parts for the DC-10. Just like on the real airplane, the flaps on this DC-10 model can fold out to increase the surface area on the wing, which thereby increases lift. The flaps allow the airplane to fly at lower speeds during takeoff and landing, which allows the DC-10 to land on shorter runways. With just the push of a button, using the LEGO Powered Up app, the landing gear can be automatically extended and retracted on the DC-10. All of the doors open and close on the model the exact same way they do as on the real airplane. The system is reliable and is intended to be used with a stand to allow the landing gear to be retracted at shows. Successfully motorizing the landing gear was one of the hardest things I've ever done, and took thinking outside of the box to accomplish. All of the doors have to be precisely timed and in sync with each other for the whole system to work. In addition to all of that, the landing gears still have to be strong enough to hold the full weight of the airplane. Despite the immense weight of the airplane, this model is still able to stand on its own gear without any issues. The sleek underside of the airplane hides a tangle of cables and gears that make the whole system run. I've decided to remove the underside of the model to allow unprecedented access to the inner workings of the system. In order to fully appreciate the model, it's important to be able to see what's going on under the hood. At first, I was very skeptical as to whether the whole thing would work at all. Despite the many challenges I encountered designing the system, I'm very pleased with the outcome and will be looking into incorporating similar features into future builds. But wait, there's more. I didn't skimp on the small details and even included the fold-out landing lights on the DC-10. In order for minifigs to board the DC-10, the doors can be opened to allow access. For the rest of us, the roof can be removed in sections starting with the front, the tail, and finally, the center. Once the roof has been removed, the full interior of the DC-10 becomes visible. The inside features a 70s decor with vibrant colors and questionable upholstery. We'll start the tour with where we entered and where most of the passengers will board the plane. There are some storage cabinets as well as privacy partitions that separate the two cabins. If we turn left and pass through the privacy curtains, we enter into the first class cabin. Seats in the first class cabin provide spacious legroom and are arranged in a 1-2-1 configuration. They are divided into red and yellow chairs. This passenger here looks like he time traveled from 100 years ago from the 1870s, and he's looking pretty lost. If we continue moving forward towards the front of the plane, we come across an American Airlines innovation, the first class lounge. The lounge features comfortable couch seating as well as standing accommodations. At the front of the lounge is a small cocktail bar serving alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. And of course, since this is the 1970s, smoking would have been allowed in this area. If we continue moving forward, we come across the first class lavatory. The lavatory sports all of the essentials, including a toilet and a sink. This would also be the restroom that the flight crew would use in flight. If we continue moving forward, we finally come to the flight deck. Since the DC-10 is an older aircraft, there would still have been a flight engineer. The flight engineer's job would have been to monitor the engines and to make sure the airplane was functioning as expected. The captain and first officer both have flight control yokes as well as a fully analog flight control. This model features a fully detailed cockpit, including throttles and the flight engineer's panel. Later airliners eliminated the flight engineer position altogether. We can now start moving aft towards the economy section of the airplane, but first we need to make a quick stop somewhere else. If we remove this section here, the below-deck galley is revealed. The DC-10 was one of only a few airliners that had a below-deck galley. At the far side of the galley, located close to the entrance, are the food elevators that carry food to the main deck. Just behind that are the narrow set of stairs that lead down to the below-deck galley. On one side are a row of ovens that are used to heat up and prepare the food. And on the other side are a set of cabinets, drawers, and food carts that would be moved up and down the food elevator. Now that we've covered that, we can replace the secret panel and continue our tour of the airplane. If we continue to move aft, we enter the coach section of the airplane, which differs from today's economy seating by actually treating the passengers with some dignity and respect. This woman here appears to be having a good time. This is the 1970s after all, and afros and disco are in style. This man here is looking out over the wing with a look of terror on his face. He's scared to fly in the DC-10 after an engine fell off of one only a couple of months prior. This woman here also seems concerned after hearing that her flight today was going to be on a DC-10. This guy, on the other hand, seems like he could care less. He's just thinking about that beach vacation that he's on his way to and couldn't care less about what he's heard on the news. Once we reach the end of the first coach cabin, the primary bank of lavatories becomes visible. The coach lavatories come stocked with all the basics and are kept very clean throughout the flight by the flight crew. Once we pass the lavatories, we enter the second, much larger, economy cabin. Today's flight is not full, and the passengers are taking full advantage of that by spreading out a little bit. This guy here found a row of seats in the center to get some rest on. It's pretty much first class for a fraction of the price. As we continue to move to the very back of the airplane, we come across a truly rare sight, the economy class lounge. The lounge comes with a large stand-up table as well as plenty of sitting and standing space for minifigs to stretch their legs. Unfortunately, the coach lounge didn't last very long and was eventually replaced with more rows of economy seating. I still think it was a pretty neat idea and should be brought back on today's airliners. And that'll pretty much do it. We've covered it all from the below-deck galley to the economy class lounge. We've also been given a sneak peek into the lives of the minifigs that are traveling today on the DC-10. And that'll pretty much wrap it up for the full walkthrough of this airplane. I had a really fun time building this one. An American Airlines DC-10 has been on my bucket list for years, and I'm thrilled that I've finally been given the chance to build one. I faced numerous challenges with this build, from the complex and intricate motorized landing gear to the distinctive curves on the nose. Despite all of that, I'm really happy with the outcome, and I hope that this video can shed some positive light on the DC-10 as an airplane. Despite its rough start, the DC-10 ended its career with a similar safety record as its contemporaries, and went on to become the workhorse of multiple airlines. The DC-10 will always be iconic in my eyes, and will always be one of the pioneers of bringing affordable air travel to the masses. I appreciate those who stuck with me through the build of this plane, and I look forward to bringing you more awesome projects in the near future. Until next time, bye for now.